Good morning and welcome to Tuesdays with the Pilgrim as we do a special Advent reading. For the next few weeks we'll be doing a Christmas story written by Pansy titled Sidney Martin's Christmas. So let's get to it, shall we? Chapter 1. It makes no difference what I do. "Oh, hum," he said as he looked drearily out the window. "If a fellow could only be at home today. What is the use of having Christmas come if a body has nowhere to go, and nothing to do, and no one cares what he does? It makes no difference where I go or what I do. I just as lief be at the store as anywhere." It was dreary for a boy of 14, only 20 miles from a nice country home, but it was a poor home, no money to spare for holiday visits. So the boy, who was received as a clerk into the large store on the corner, the largest in town, because the merchant and his father had been friends in their long-ago boyhood, was trying to be a brave boy and spend his holiday alone. But it was dull work. It was so new and sad a thing to feel that it made no difference to anyone what he did. The town clock struck 9. "Only 9 o'clock?" Sidney said, and he thought he did not know what to do with the day. He went out, however, and began to take an aimless walk up the street. Nearly opposite Judge Porter's handsome home, that large house built in foreign style, with the pride of town for that and other reasons, he stopped suddenly and listened. Music, clear and sweet, it rose upon the air. "Glory to God in the highest, and on earth peace, goodwill to men." Sidney went on around the corner with a curious face. Who could be outdoors singing on Christmas morning? The minute he got view of this side of the gateway, the riddle was plain. "Ho!" he said, and then he laughed. "I do say, if those Shamways haven't come out in full force, exactly as they used to do in Germany, and they are singing the Christmas carol. I wonder if they think it will get Christmas greeting as they said the children did in the old country. What a droll-looking set they are. The carol is really pretty, though." This he added as sweet words began again. "Glory to God in the highest." Just at that very point they stopped, every voice, and little Gretchen, the youngest of the group, gave a little squeal that did not belong to the carol. It was plain that something had frightened them. Sidney crossed over to them. Just inside of the gate had appeared old Bose, the great house dog, and he was not a lover of their music, to judge by the low growls with which he greeted it. "Don't be afraid," said Sidney, coming promptly into view. "I know old Bose, and he knows me. He is an ill-mannered scamp, but he won't hurt you as long as I'm around. You sing away, and I'll stand guard." And sing they did, like larks, and earned a penny all around, and plenty of little cakes. The Porters had spent a winter in Germany. They knew how to treat little singers. Sidney, not being so well wrapped as the singers, shivered a little as he walked away. His promise fulfilled, he had to be content with a hearty "thank you," given in broken English, and a grateful smile in little Gretchen's eyes. Chapter 2. I was walking down by the pond. The Christmas carol had taken up quite a little of the morning. Sidney felt glad of that. The faster the morning went, the better. He put his hands in his pockets and whistled to keep himself company, and tramped cheerfully on. Just where he was going he did not know, and it made no difference where he went, you will remember. He met a great many people whom he knew, and a great many that he didn't know, but none of them had anything to do with him. Just across the town bridge there was a boy, and though Sidney knew no more about him than that he was Dr. Eldred's son, and went to the academy and sat across the room from him at Sunday school, he seemed like a friend to a lonely fellow, and he stopped to look at him, and to wonder how it would seem if they were good friends. Young Eldred was in some perplexity. He had his sled and stood holding the rope, while Miss Etta Eldridge curled nicely on the seat, wrapped in furs, and appeared to be waiting for some decision. "I suppose I have just got to go home first," the boy was saying in disappointed tones as Sidney crossed over for a nearer look at one who had a sister nearby to enjoy. "How are you?" Eldridge said cordially to Sidney. He was not a proud boy, though he had a good deal to be proud of. "Are you going down to see the skating? There's to be a great time. 2 fellows are going to have a trial of speed, and the one who gets beaten is to give an oyster supper to us fellows in the evening." "I hadn't heard of it," said Sidney, with interest. "When is this to be?" "Why, it was to be at 12 o'clock. But I hear since I came out that the time has changed to 11. It will be long after that before I can get there, for it's 10 now, and I've got to go all the way home with Etta. She sprained her foot, you see, and Mother is not willing to have her walk." "I'll draw her home for you, if she will let me." Sidney said this as heartily as though it would be a great favor. Young Eldred caught the words joyfully. "Why, will you? That's really kind of you. Etta, you wouldn't mind for this once, would you?" And Etta shook the feather in her cap and said decidedly, "Oh no, not at all, if he would just as soon." "But you will miss the race yourself. You know it is a long walk down home." This was Eldridge's afterthought. "Oh, I shouldn't mind that," Sidney said. He had not known a thing about it, so he wouldn't really be missing it. And so it came to pass that he shouldered the satchel of books that had been taken from the academy for the vacation, and had just been gone after, and taking the reins in his own hands, waited only to see the doctor's son join the party of boys who were waiting for him, and then he and Etta started. A full mile over the crispy snow, with a merry young girl who occasionally came to the store to buy bright ribbons, and was always kind and pleasant. This was a nicer Christmas than he had imagined, and so he told himself, as he walked back along the mile alone, having taken his charge to the very door, delivered the books to her care, and himself put away the sled in the carriage-house. Etta had thanked him heartily, and given him a pocketful of splendid apples besides. And better than all the rest, the morning was quite gone, actually nearly 12 o'clock. "This has been a great Christmas," he said aloud in glee, as he came to the main street once more and caught sight of the moon-faced clock keeping guard in the church steeple. And we'll stop there for this week. Next week we'll continue with Chapter 3 of Sidney Martin's Christmas. Until then, take care, stay safe, and God bless.